What's going on, guys? It's Kent. Just thought I'd come at you real quick and contribute to your week 2 discussion. So I'm going to do one of these for most weeks so I can get around to it, which is to make my own little post for your weekly discussion. So this week's discussion talks about whether or not somebody should invest a lot of money on a scope or another optic, and as well it asks questions regarding should everybody have the highest end scope they should possibly get. What are some factors that we should consider when we're buying scopes or other optics? Just, some general basic stuff like that. So here's what I would want you guys to consider when you talk through this and when you write your way through this. Number one would be use case, right? What is the gun for? If the gun has defensive purposes in mind, it better have very quality glass on it. I don't care if it's rifle, shotgun. Yes, we put optics on shotguns. I love running an RMR on mine. Or a pistol, it doesn't really matter. It better have something quality that can work. If it's for defensive purposes, it better, if it's illuminated, to me, that thing better be on at all times. Not reliant on something that I have to remember to flip a knob or a dial. That's not really a good idea. Durability, obviously, if for defensive purposes, we certainly want to make sure that whatever tool we put on our gun is durable and it's not going to break throughout normal use case or training, which, of course, they should all be doing if they want to get good with their defensive tools. So that would be a tier. That would be my first tier. That would be the tier of thing that I'm most concerned about. In that tier, I would say that you should spend as much money as you can afford and you should get the best quality product you possibly can. I'm not down with guys buying $200 optics for defensive rifles, for example. I'm not down with guys buying, $400 or $300 high-end optics for their kids' 22 either, right? You got to kind of play a balance a little bit and do what makes sense for the customer based on what they're actually buying and what the tools are for. So, if the gun's for defensive purposes, get the best thing you can get, right? For hunting purposes, to me, I don't draw too much of a difference between, a hunting category tool and a defensive category tool, mainly because when I hunt, I don't get a lot of time to go anymore, but when I do, I damn sure do not want something I'm relying upon failing during the course of my hunt. So, again, reliability, durability, all that kind of stuff are hand in hand. Recreational is recreational. You pay what you want for your recreational toys. And that's what they are. They're toys. A 22 meant for your kids to, knock reactive targets around is basically a toy. Sure, it's a lethal force toy. Sure, it should not be treated the same as a little, a ball or a squirt gun. But nonetheless, if the optic breaks, the only thing you have is a sad kid as opposed to, something much worse. So I care less about the durability aspect in that environment. Now, when we come to, magnification and glass and stuff like that, hey, man, if you're going to have a hunting optic, you probably want to have as much light transmission as you could probably get, because that first half hour and the last half hour is probably the most valuable to you. If you live in Iowa and you hunt over cornfields and you have legit 300, 400, 500 yard shots from one end of the cornfield to the other, you probably want a nice, 9x, 10x optic. I would. If you live in northern Vermont, where I used to live, and you are surrounded by old growth forest, and the longest shot you're ever going to take on a game animal is, measured in the singles of or dozens of yards, not hundreds. I don't know, maybe just a red dot on a 30-30 will get you done. Maybe you don't even need an optic. So those are things to consider as well. The adage is about, the optics should be twice the cost of the gun, or I don't know about all that stuff. But I'll tell you this much, I feel very good about my, my Vortex, my high-end Vortex optics, my high-end Trijicon optics, and even the Platinum Series stuff that I'm running these days from Primary Arms. That stuff is all proven to me to be durable, right? And basically, if it's on a defensive gun or a teaching gun for Green Mountain Defense for my training company, it's a Trijicon, it's a Vortex, or, some Holosun pistol optics are doing real well as well these days. So those are some considerations I want you guys to think about. More than anything else in this discussion, I want you to do a good job of articulating to that customer why it is that you would make the choice that you would make, right? I don't think budget should be the number one biggest concern, though, for everything. I really wish people would stop talking about budget firearms and budget guns and budget optics and start actually budgeting until they can afford such a thing and then make the purchase from there. So, free form, free flowing, random thoughts for you guys on the discussion, just to kind of spur along the topics a little bit. This is what I want you guys to be thinking about, and this is how I want you to approach it. So approach it from use case first, then look at durability, then look at features and benefits, and then finally look at cost, right? In that order. All right, dudes and dudettes. That's what I got for you for this week. This is week 2, FTT 221. A little bit of extra instructor guidance for the what do you call it, for the discussion boards. So jump in, have your fun. I can't wait to read what you got. Thanks.